President Chae-young Lim stood at the podium in the Great Hall of the United Nations building on Earth. The hall had been rebuilt many times over 3,000 years, but it still served the same purpose, bringing different peoples together to talk instead of fight. Today, representatives from over 5,000 alien species were watching her speech. Some watched from ships in orbit around Earth. Others watched from their home worlds across the galaxy. All of them wanted to understand what had just happened. Friends from across the stars, President Lim began. 6 days ago, the hegemony of worlds demanded that humanity surrender our freedom and become slaves. Today, I stand before you to explain our response and to offer you something much better than conquest. The alien representatives listened carefully. Many of them had been slaves of the hegemony. Others had been forced to serve the hegemony to protect their own worlds. All of them had seen the battle recordings. In 6 hours, humanity had destroyed the largest military force in galactic history. For 3,000 years, humanity chose peace. We did not choose peace because we were weak. We chose peace because we learned that strength without wisdom destroys everything it touches. We chose peace because we discovered something more powerful than weapons, the power to help others grow. Dr. Wanho Jung activated the presentation system. Images appeared above the crowd, showing human worlds and human technology. But these were not images of weapons and warships. They showed farms that could grow food in any environment. They showed medical centers that could cure diseases. They showed schools where beings from different species learned together. What you see here is humanity's real achievement, Dr. Jung explained. We solved the problems that have troubled every species in the galaxy. We ended hunger by learning how to grow unlimited food. We ended sickness by understanding how bodies work. We ended ignorance by sharing knowledge freely. The alien representatives whispered among themselves. Some looked skeptical. After all, every species had tried to solve these problems. Most had failed. Ambassador Jisoo Kang stood up to address the crowd. She had spent the last week traveling to different alien worlds, talking to leaders who had been freed from hegemony control. We understand your doubt, she said kindly. Every species tries to end hunger and disease. Most fail because they try to solve these problems while also fighting wars. They spend their resources on weapons instead of food. They use their smartest people to build bombs instead of medicines. For 3,000 years, humanity used all our resources for helping instead of hurting. We used all our smart people for building instead of destroying. We discovered that peace is not just the absence of war. Peace is the presence of enough. The images changed, showing the results of humanity's peaceful centuries. Worlds with perfect climates, cities with no pollution, people living for hundreds of years without getting sick, technology that could create anything needed from simple materials. We call this the post-scarcity civilization, Dr. Jung continued. When you have enough of everything, you do not need to take from others. When everyone has enough food, there is no reason to fight over farms. When everyone has enough space, there is no reason to fight over planets. But, President Lim continued, the hegemony attacked us because they could not imagine a species choosing peace from a position of strength. They thought peace meant weakness. They thought we would be easy victims. They learned that they were wrong. The recordings from the battle played on the screens. Alien representatives watched their former oppressors being destroyed by weapons they had never seen before. They watched human ships moving with impossible coordination. They watched entire fleets being defeated without a single human casualty. The same technology that gives us abundance also gives us the strongest defense in the galaxy, President Lim explained. The same wisdom that taught us peace also taught us how to protect peace. We can share our abundance with friends and we can protect it from those who would steal it. Admiral Dong-hyuk-yoon stepped forward. He commanded the human fleets that were now traveling to worlds recently freed from hegemony control. As we speak, human ships are arriving at 47 worlds that the hegemony enslaved, he announced. We are not coming as conquerors. We are coming as helpers. We are bringing food for the hungry, medicine for the sick, and tools to help rebuild what was destroyed. The alien representatives looked amazed. Usually, when one empire defeated another, the winners took everything valuable and left the losers to suffer. But humans were giving things away for free. We are offering every species in the galaxy the same choice, President Lim said. Join us in building the new Galactic Compact. This is not an empire where some rule and others serve. This is a partnership where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. She pressed a button and a new document appeared on every screen. The new Galactic Compact was simple and clear. Any species could join by agreeing to 3 rules: no slavery, no conquest, and no keeping others from growing. In return, Ambassador Jisoo explained, we will share all our technology with you. We will teach you how to end hunger on your worlds. We will teach you how to cure diseases. We will teach you how to build ships that can travel between stars in days instead of months. We will teach you how to achieve what we achieved. Enough for everyone. The alien representatives talked excitedly among themselves. This offer was better than anything they had ever hoped for. But some were still suspicious. A representative from the Kuranda species stood up. These were the people who had been slaves of the hegemony for over a century. Humans, the Kuranda said, your offer sounds wonderful. But what do you want in return? No species gives away such gifts for free. President Lim smiled sadly. We want what every parent wants for their children. We want you to grow strong and wise and happy. We want you to help others grow the same way. We want the galaxy to be full of friends instead of enemies. That is all? That is everything, President Lim replied. A galaxy full of friends is the greatest treasure any species can have. Dr. Wonho Jung activated another presentation, showing the long-term plans. Imagine worlds where every being has enough food, enough space, enough time to learn and grow. Imagine ships traveling safely between stars, carrying teachers and artists instead of soldiers. Imagine children growing up knowing that the universe is full of friends who want to help them succeed. This is what we built for ourselves, President Lim said. This is what we want to build with you. Over the next few hours, 43 species signed the new Galactic Compact. More were considering it. For the first time in galactic history, cooperation was spreading faster than conquest. But the greatest moment came at the end of the ceremony. A small ship requested permission to land at the United Nations building. The ship carried a delegation from the hegemony's surviving worlds. The delegation was led by Prime Scientist Zelathon, who had survived the battle. He looked older and much sadder than before. With him came representatives from species that had been part of the hegemony's ruling class. Humans of Earth, Zelathon said as he entered the Great Hall. We come to surrender unconditionally. Our empire is broken. Our fleets are destroyed. We are ready to face whatever punishment you choose. President Lim stepped down from the podium and walked to meet the delegation. The hall was completely silent. Everyone expected to see the moment when the victors claimed their prizes from the defeated. Instead, President Lim offered her hand to Zelathon. Prime Scientist Zelathon, she said warmly, we do not want your surrender. We want your partnership. Your people have great knowledge of space travel and planetary management. Your species has survived for millions of years. We need your wisdom to help build the new galaxy. Zelathon stared at her outstretched hand. You want us to join your compact? After everything we did? After all the species we enslaved? Especially because of that, President Lim replied. You understand the cost of conquest better than anyone. You can help us make sure it never happens again. Slowly, Zelathon reached out and shook her hand. We accept, he whispered. We will try to earn the forgiveness we do not deserve. 6 months later, Commander Jiwoo Kim stood once again in the observation deck of Orbital Station Harmony. But now she was Admiral Kim, in charge of the new Galactic Cooperation Fleet. The view outside had changed dramatically. Ships from dozens of different species moved peacefully between Earth and the growing network of cooperative worlds. Former hegemony worlds were sending food to colonies that were still recovering. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together to solve problems. Status report, Admiral Kim asked her new assistant, Captain Haiyan Yu. 49 new worlds have requested membership in the compact this month, Captain Yu reported. The hunger relief program has eliminated starvation on 12 worlds. The disease eradication program has developed cures for 7 different plagues. Any conflicts? 3 minor disputes over mining rights, all resolved through mediation. 2 cases of species trying to return to old conquest patterns, both resolved by economic incentives. 0 military conflicts, Admiral Kim smiled. And the exploration programs? Better than expected. The joint exploration fleets have discovered 17 new species this month. Admiral Kyungmin Lim sat in the hidden command center inside Earth's moon. The room was huge, carved from solid rock and filled with screens and computers. For 3,000 years this place had been waiting. Today it would finally be used. Report, Admiral Lim said to her staff. Alien fleet approaching from 12 different directions, Captain Sunho Kim reported from his station. Total count, 51,000 ships. They will reach our outer colonies in 4 hours. Our fleet status? Admiral Lim asked. All ships ready, replied Fleet Commander Jian Wu. Civilian disguises are still active. The aliens think our warships are cargo vessels. Admiral Lim nodded. For 3,000 years, human ships had looked like simple cargo carriers and passenger transports. But inside each cargo hold were weapons that could destroy planets. Inside each passenger area were soldiers who had trained their whole lives for this moment. On the planet New Terra, Captain Sunho Kim stood in what looked like a weather control center. Big screens showed wind patterns and rain clouds. Technicians in white coats monitored atmospheric conditions. Everything looked peaceful and normal, but Captain Kim knew the truth. The weather control satellites orbiting New Terra were actually the most powerful weapons in the galaxy. They had been controlling the planet's climate for centuries, but they could do much more than make rain. Alien ships entering our system, his sensor officer reported. 47 vessels, all heavily armed. Let them come closer, Captain Kim said. Let them think we are helpless. The alien ships moved toward New Terra like wolves approaching sheep. Their leader, Admiral Cathera, sent a message to the planet. Humans of New Terra, surrender immediately. Prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in complete destruction of your cities. Captain Kim answered calmly. Admiral Cathera, this is Captain Kim of New Terra Colony. We are a peaceful farming world. We have no weapons and no military. Please do not hurt our families, Admiral Cathera laughed. Smart humans. Surrender now and some of you might live. The alien ships moved into orbit around New Terra. They began scanning the planet, looking for military bases and weapon installations. They found farms and schools and art centers. They found nothing dangerous. Begin landing operations, Admiral Cathera ordered. This will be easier than taking candy from children. That was when Captain Kim pressed a single button. The weather satellites suddenly changed. Their solar collectors folded back, revealing energy weapons bigger than skyscrapers. Their communication dishes turned into targeting systems. Their atmospheric processors became shield generators. What is happening? Admiral Cathara screamed as her sensors went crazy. Where did these weapons come from? We told you, Captain Kim said quietly. We are a peaceful farming world. These are our farming tools, the satellites fired once. 47 alien ships became clouds of glowing dust. In deep space, Fleet Commander Jian Wu was preparing for the real battle. Her fleet of 300 ships waited in formation, still disguised as civilian vessels. The main alien fleet was approaching, over 50,000 warships in the largest invasion force ever assembled. Maintain disguises until they reach optimal range, Commander Wu ordered. Let them think we are running away. Her ships began moving slowly and clumsily, like frightened cargo vessels trying to escape. The alien fleet followed eagerly, sensing easy prey. Commander Vorthak, leading the invasion from his massive flagship, was pleased. Look how they run! 50,000 years of evolution, and they still act like scared animals. Begin attack formation. We will destroy them all in the first wave. The alien fleet spread out in a classic attack pattern surrounding the fleeing human ships. Vorthak gave the order to fire. That was when the human ships shed their disguises. What had looked like slow cargo vessels suddenly became sleek warships with gleaming hulls and weapon arrays that covered their entire surfaces. What had looked like desperate fleeing became perfect combat formation, and the human ships did not just fight. They danced. Each ship moved like it was part of a single organism. They spun and weaved through space, avoiding every alien shot while their own weapons found every target. When one ship was damaged, 2 others immediately covered it. When aliens tried to surround them, the humans seemed to know where the attack was coming before it happened. This is impossible, Vorthak roared as his ships began dying around him. No species can fight with this level of coordination. It is like they share a single mind. Fleet Commander Wu smiled as her ship spun between 3 alien attacks and destroyed 6 enemy vessels with return fire. Not one mind, Vorthak. 3,000 years of practice. On the ground, colonies that had seemed defenseless were revealing their true nature. Youngman Seo had been a simple farmer on the colony world called Haven. He grew vegetables and raised animals. His neighbors were teachers and artists and shop owners. None of them looked like soldiers. When the alien landing ships came down, Youngman was working in his fields with his farming tools. Large machines helped him plant seeds and harvest crops. Everything looked normal. Surrender, humans. The alien ground commander shouted through speakers. Come out with your hands visible. Youngman smiled and activated his farming equipment. The seed planting machine suddenly stood up on legs, revealing that they were actually battle robots. The harvesting machines opened up to show weapon systems. The irrigation pipes that watered the crops began firing energy beams. Sorry, Youngman called to the confused aliens. Harvest time is not for 3 more months. The alien ground force lasted exactly 12 minutes. The real shock came when the aliens tried to attack Earth itself. Commander Vorthak, now desperate as his invasion force was being destroyed, directed his flagship toward humanity's homeworld. If I cannot have their worlds, I will destroy their birthplace, he screamed. All weapons target Earth. Maximum power. But as his ship approached Earth's solar system, something impossible happened. A new ship appeared from the direction of the sun itself. Captain Hyerin Yu had been waiting for 3,000 years for this moment. Her ship, the Peacekeeper, had been hidden inside Earth's sun using technology that the rest of the galaxy could not even imagine. The ship was not just a weapon, it was a statement. The Peacekeeper was beautiful and terrible at the same time. It was shaped like a work of art, with smooth curves and graceful lines. But it was also the size of a small moon, and space itself seemed to bend around it as it moved. Vorthak of the Hegemony, Captain Yu said calmly. You are not welcome in this system. Vorthak stared at his sensors in disbelief. What are you? No ship can hide inside a star. No ship can be that large and still move. We are what happens when a warrior people chooses peace, Captain Yu replied. We are what you get when you spend 3,000 years learning instead of conquering. The Peacekeeper did not fire any weapons. It did not need to. It simply moved, and Vorthak's flagship was caught in gravitational forces that tore the massive ship apart like paper. In 6 hours, the battle was over. 51,000 alien ships had become space dust. Not a single human had died. Not a single human world had been damaged. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the human fleet regrouped in perfect formation. Every ship was exactly where it should be. Every weapon was powered down but ready. Every crew member was calm and professional. Admiral Kyungmin Lim broadcast a message to the surviving alien forces. Attention, Hegemony ships. The battle is over. You have lost. Any ship that wishes to surrender will be allowed to leave our space safely. Any ship that wishes to continue fighting will be destroyed. You have 10 minutes to decide. The remaining alien scouts and support ships chose to run. They scattered in every direction, carrying news of their defeat back to the Hegemony's home worlds. In the command center on Earth's moon, Admiral Lim turned to her staff. Damage report? No human casualties, Captain Kim reported. Some minor damage to 3 ships already being repaired. All colonies report normal status. Enemy casualties. Complete destruction of the invasion force. Estimated 50,000 ships destroyed, approximately 2 million alien military personnel killed. Admiral Lim was quiet for a moment. Even in victory, she felt sad about the deaths. Humans had not wanted to fight. They had not wanted to kill, but they had been given no choice. Send a message to the Hegemony homeworlds, she ordered. Tell them that humanity is willing to discuss peace. Tell them we do not want to be their enemies. But tell them also that if they try to attack us again, the next battle will not be in our space. It will be in theirs. Fleet Commander Jian Wu docked her ship at the lunar base. As she walked through the corridors, she saw technicians already working to repair the minor damage from the battle. Children were playing in the garden areas. Artists were painting pictures of the victory. Life was returning to normal. But everyone knew that normal had changed forever. The galaxy now knew what humans could do when they chose to fight. The sleeping giant was awake, and it was stronger than anyone had imagined. Ambassador Seojun Han stood in front of the mirror in his small room on the space station called Crossroads. This station sat at the edge of human space, in neutral territory where different species could meet safely. He adjusted his simple blue diplomatic uniform and tried to look calm. Today he would meet with the aliens who wanted to make humans into slaves. He had been a diplomat for 20 years, always finding peaceful solutions to problems. But this problem felt different. These aliens did not want to talk. They wanted to take. Ambassador Han, the alien delegation has arrived, his assistant communications specialist Haeun Kang said over the intercom. They will meet you in conference room 1 in 10 minutes. Thank you, Heian. Are you recording everything? Yes, sir. The broadcast is going out to every human world, and to any alien species that wants to watch. The whole galaxy will see this meeting. Seojin walked through the station's halls. Other diplomats from different species nodded politely as he passed. Many of them looked worried. Everyone had heard about the hegemony of worlds. They conquered species and made them into slaves. No one had ever stopped them. Conference room 1 was large and plain with a big table in the middle. Seojin sat on one side and waited. The doors opened and 3 aliens walked in. The first alien was huge with thick gray skin and 4 arms. Each arm was bigger than Seojin's whole body. This was Vorthak the Conqueror, supreme commander of the hegemony's fleets. His eyes were small and cruel, and he smiled with too many teeth. The second alien was thin and tall with blue skin and a large head full of wrinkles. This was Prime Scientist Zelathon, the smartest being in the hegemony. He carried a small computer and kept making notes. The third alien was medium-sized with green skin and no hair. She was Admiral Kithara, Vorthak's second in command. She looked at Seojin like he was an insect she wanted to step on. So, Vorthak said in a voice like rocks falling, "You are the human who will surrender your species to us." "I am Ambassador Seojin Han," Seojin replied politely. "I am here to listen to your proposal and to share humanity's response." Vorthak laughed. It sounded like thunder. "Proposal? This is not a proposal. This is an order. Your species will surrender completely. You will give us all your worlds. You will work in our mines and factories. You will serve us until you die." Prime Scientist Zelathon activated his computer. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing pictures of different planets and species. "Look and learn, human," Zelathon said in a voice like whispers. "Here is the planet Koranda Prime. The Koranda people had 5 billion citizens and a powerful military. We conquered them in 6 days. Now they work in our factories. The display changed. Here is the Zelon system. 7 worlds, 3 different species all working together to fight us. We destroyed their combined fleets in 2 hours. Now the survivors mine precious metals for us." The pictures kept changing, showing world after world of conquered species. Seojin watched calmly, his face showing no emotion. "We have conquered 400 species," Admiral Kithara said. "We have destroyed fleets that had 10,000 ships. We have broken alliances that lasted for millions of years. What makes you think your small, peaceful species can do anything to stop us?" Seojin waited until the display finished. Then he spoke quietly. "Thank you for showing me these pictures. Now I would like to share humanity's response to your order." He pressed a button on his own small device. The room's display screen showed Admiral Salmon Choi sitting at her desk on Earth. "Greetings, representatives of the hegemony," Admiral Choi said. "We have carefully considered your message. Humanity's response is simple. You have 24 hours to leave our space and never return. If you do not leave, we will make you leave." The 3 aliens stared at the screen in shock. Then Vorthak began laughing so hard that the table shook. "Make us leave?" he roared. "Your entire species has maybe 1 million ships, and most of those are cargo carriers. We have 50 million warships. Our smallest battle group could destroy all your worlds." Admiral Kithara was also laughing. "Humans have not fought a real war for 3,000 years. You probably do not even remember how to use weapons." But Prime Scientist Zelathon was not laughing. He was studying his computer, frowning. "Something is wrong," he said quietly. "Our scouts report that human space has almost no military installations. But species do not survive for millions of years by being completely helpless." "Of course they survive," Vorthak said. "They hide in corners and hope no one notices them." "Humans have been hiding for 3,000 years, Seojin smiled. "Would you like to see what human hiding looks like?" Before the aliens could answer, Seojin pressed another button. "Captain Minho Park, please show our guests the research vessel Curiosity." The room's windows suddenly showed space outside the station. At first, there was nothing to see except stars. Then Captain Minho's voice came through the speakers. "Greetings, Ambassador. The Curiosity is right outside the station. Can you see us?" The aliens looked out the windows. They saw nothing. "Your ship is invisible?" Prime Scientist Zelathon asked, suddenly very interested. "Not invisible," Seojin said. "Just not where you expect it to be. Captain Park, please demonstrate our gravity manipulation system." In the distance, there was a small moon orbiting the station. As everyone watched, the moon began to move. It moved slowly at first, then faster. Soon it was spinning like a ball in someone's hands. Impossible, whispered Admiral Kithara. No one can move celestial bodies like toys. Captain Park, please show them our precision energy system, Seojin said. A thin beam of light appeared from nowhere and touched the spinning moon. The light moved in patterns, carving shapes into the moon's surface. When it finished, there was a perfect symbol of Earth carved into the rock, a circle with continents and oceans clearly visible. The three aliens were very quiet now. Prime Scientist Zelathon was typing frantically on his computer. This is a trick, Vorthak said, but his voice was not as confident as before. No species could hide technology like this for 3,000 years. Why would we hide it? Seojin asked. We are a peaceful people. We use our technology to help others, not to hurt them. The gravity system helps us move asteroids to build new colonies. The energy system helps us cut through ice to find water. We have many tools, but we do not use them as weapons. Then why show us this now? Admiral Kithara asked. Because you seem to think that peaceful means helpless, Seojin replied. We wanted to correct your mistake before you made a bigger one. Prime Scientist Zelathon looked up from his computer. His face was pale. Commander Vorthak, I am detecting energy readings from that ship that should not be possible. Whatever technology they are using, it is far beyond anything in our databases. So what? Vorthak growled. One ship with fancy tricks does not make an army. We still have 50 million warships. They still have almost nothing. Seojin's smile grew bigger. Captain Park, please tell our friends how many ships like yours are currently in this system. Well, Ambassador, that would be classified information, Captain Park said. But I can tell you that the Curiosity is definitely not alone. Suddenly, dozens of energy signatures appeared on the alien sensors. Ships were decloaking all around the station. Not just a few ships, hundreds of them. Each ship showed the same impossible energy readings as the Curiosity. This is impossible, Admiral Kithara whispered. Our sensors showed empty space. Where did these ships come from? They were always here, Seojin said. Just like our defenses have always been here. Just like our training has always been here. You assumed that peace meant weakness. You were wrong. Prime Scientist Zelathon was studying his readings with growing fear. Commander, these energy signatures. If they are accurate, any one of these ships could destroy our entire invasion fleet. But Vorthak was too proud to back down. Tricks and lies. I do not believe any of this. You are trying to scare us with fake demonstrations and computer graphics. Then test us, Seojin said simply. You have invasion fleets waiting at the edge of our space. Send them in. See what happens. The room was silent for a long moment. Finally, Vorthak stood up. You have 12 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you do not surrender, we will show you what real power looks like. We will turn your worlds into ash and your people into slaves. The three aliens left the room. As soon as they were gone, Hyun Kang came in looking excited. Ambassador, the broadcast reached over 10,000 different species. Everyone in the galaxy saw that demonstration. The communication networks are going crazy. Nobody can believe what they just saw. Good, Seojin said. Let them talk. Soon they will see much more. In their ship, Prime Scientist Zelathon was trying to convince Vorthak to reconsider. Commander, those energy readings are real. I have checked them 3 times. These humans have technology that we do not understand. I do not care, Vorthak snarled. We are the hegemony of worlds. We have conquered 400 species. We will not be stopped by peaceful farmers who know a few magic tricks. But as their ship flew toward the hegemony fleet, Zelathon kept looking at his readings. Something was very wrong. The humans were too confident. They were too calm. They were acting like people who knew something that he did not. Soon he would find out what they knew. And he would wish he had never come to human space. Historian Do-hyun Yoon walked down the long stairs under the city of New Geneva on Earth. These stairs went very deep underground, deeper than most people ever went. At the bottom were the archive vaults, huge rooms full of old records that nobody had looked at for hundreds of years. Do-hyun carried a special key card that could open any door in the archives. Most historians only had keys for the normal records. But yesterday, Admiral Choi had given him a master key. She told him to look for files marked military heritage and defensive protocols. The first room was full of dust and old air. Do-hyun turned on the lights and saw thousands of metal boxes on tall shelves. Each box had a number and a date. He found the section marked 2024-2030 CE and started looking through the boxes. The first box he opened made him sit down hard on the floor. Inside were plans for spaceships unlike anything he had ever seen. These were not the slow, peaceful cargo ships that flew between human worlds today. These were fast, deadly warships with weapons that could destroy entire cities. He opened another box. This one had plans for defensive systems, not small defenses for protecting one building or one city. These were plans for protecting entire planets. The plans showed how to hide huge weapons inside normal-looking buildings and farms. This is impossible, Do-hyun said to himself. We are a peaceful people. We do not build weapons like these. But the dates on all the papers were from 3,000 years ago, right after the colonial wars ended. Humans had built these weapons. They had just never used them. On Mars colony, engineer Nari Jung was having her own surprise. She had taken a team of workers to the old industrial area in Mariner Valley. For 3,000 years, this area had been called Historical Preservation Zone. Signs everywhere said, authorized personnel only, and dangerous old equipment. But yesterday, Admiral Choi had given Nari new orders. She was to check if the old factories could still work. Nobody expected them to work. They were 3,000 years old. Nari's team cut through the old security barriers and walked into the main factory building. It was huge, bigger than 20 sports fields. Old machines stood in perfect rows covered with sheets and dust. Be careful, Nari told her team. We do not know if any of this equipment still has power. She found the main control panel and pressed the power button. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then lights began turning on all over the factory. Computers started humming. The air system began working. How is this possible? Asked Youngmin, one of her workers. These machines are older than our great-great-grandfathers. Nari looked at the main computer screen. It showed a menu with many choices. One choice made her heart beat fast. Warship construction protocols. She pressed that choice. The screen showed plans for building spaceships, not cargo ships or passenger ships. These were warships designed for fighting battles in space. The computer said it could build 100 ships per month if it had enough materials. Check the material storage areas, Nari told her team. They ran to different parts of the factory and came back with shocked faces. The storage areas are full, Youngmin said. There is enough metal and other materials to build thousands of ships. Everything has been preserved perfectly. Nari felt dizzy. Mars colony was supposed to be a peaceful farming world, but under the farms and cities there were factories that could build a war fleet. The factories had been waiting for 3,000 years, ready to start working again. On the Jupiter moon Europa, General Taehyung-oh was reading files that made him feel like he was dreaming. His assistant Yoona Shin had brought him a box of records from the military archives. The box had been sealed for 3,000 years. Look at this training manual, Yoona said, showing him a thick book. It is called Every Citizen a Soldier. It says that all humans receive basic military training as part of their education. Taehyung frowned. That cannot be right. Our schools teach art and science and literature. They do not teach fighting, are you sure? Yoona asked. What do you call the physical fitness classes? What about the survival training that all children take? What about the strategy games that everyone learns? Taehyung thought about his own education. Every human child learned how to be strong and fast. Every child learned how to live in space, how to fix machines, how to work as part of a team. Every child played complex games that required planning and quick thinking. You think this is all military training? He asked. I think our teachers have been very clever, Yoona said. They taught us how to be soldiers without telling us that is what they were doing. Every human knows how to fight. We just call it something else. Dr. Jihoon Bae was discovering something even more surprising on the science colony called New Athens. He had gone to the Genetic Research Center to look for old medical records. What he found was much more interesting than old medicine. The records showed that for 3,000 years, humans had been changing themselves. Not with machines or surgery, but by activating genes that had always been inside them. The scientists called it Human Improvement Project. According to the files, modern humans were faster, stronger, and smarter than their ancestors from 3,000 years ago. They could see better in the dark. They could go longer without food or water. They could think more clearly under pressure. We evolved ourselves, Dr. Bae said to his assistant, Dr. Minji Park, who had come from the space station to help him. During our 3,000 years of peace, we made ourselves into better humans. Why would peaceful people need to be stronger and faster? Minji asked. Dr. Bae found the answer in another file. Because the people who made the peace knew it would not last forever. They knew that someday someone would challenge us. They wanted to make sure we would be ready. That evening, all the researchers met by video call to share what they had found. Do-hyun showed them pictures of the weapon plans. Nari showed them the working factories. Tae-hyung explained about the hidden military training. Dr. Bae shared the genetic improvement records. So we are not a peaceful people who cannot fight, Admiral Choi said after hearing all the reports. We are a warrior people who chose not to fight. That is right, Do-hyun said. Our ancestors ended the colonial wars not because they were tired of fighting. They ended the wars because they had learned how to fight so well that they scared themselves. They built all these weapons and defenses, Nari added, and then they hid them so we could live in peace. But the weapons are still here waiting for us. Every human world has these hidden defenses? Admiral Choi asked. Every world, Tae-hyung confirmed. I have been calling the military offices on other colonies. They are all finding the same things we found. Factories that can build warships, weapons hidden inside civilian buildings, training programs disguised as schools and sports. And every human is already trained to use these things, the Admiral asked. Without knowing it, Yuna said. We have been preparing for war our whole lives. We just thought we were learning normal life skills. Admiral Choi was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. Tomorrow, the alien scouts will reach the edge of our space. They will look at our worlds and see farmers and artists and students. They will think we are helpless. Should we tell them the truth? Dr. Bae asked. Not yet, the Admiral said. Let them think we are weak. Let them come closer. Let them make their biggest mistake. In deep space, the alien scout ships were already moving toward human worlds. Their instruments showed peaceful colonies with no military bases. Their computers counted cargo ships and passenger ships but found no warships. The alien commander, Vorthak the Conqueror, smiled when he saw the reports. These humans will surrender without a fight. This will be the easiest conquest in the history of the hegemony. He did not know that every cargo ship he counted could become a warship in minutes. He did not know that every peaceful colony was actually a fortress. He did not know that every helpless human was a trained warrior waiting for orders. The sleeping giant was waking up, and it was hungry. Commander Ji-woo Kim looked out the big window of the space station. She could see Earth below, blue and green and beautiful. Ships moved slowly between Earth and the moon colonies. Everything was peaceful, just like it had been for 3,000 years. Ji-woo had been born into this peace. Her parents had lived in peace. Their parents before them had lived in peace. Nobody alive remembered the old wars. The history books told stories about fighting and death, but those seemed like fairy tales now. Commander Kim, please come to the communication room, a voice said over the speaker. Ji-woo walked through the clean white halls of Orbital Station Harmony. Workers smiled and waved as she passed. Children played in the garden areas. Everyone was happy. Dr. Minji Park was waiting in the communication room. She looked worried, which was strange. Minji never looked worried about anything. She was the smartest person Ji-woo knew, always calm and ready with answers. What is wrong? Ji-woo asked. Minji pointed to the big screen on the wall. Strange symbols covered it, moving and changing. This message came from deep space. Very deep space. I have been trying to understand it for 3 hours. Is it from one of our ships? Ji-woo asked. No, this message came from outside our space. Far outside. I think it came from aliens. Ji-woo felt her heart beat faster. Aliens had not talked to humans for 3,000 years. The last time aliens came to human space, there had been fighting. That was before the Great Peace began. Can you read what it says? Ji-woo asked. Minji pressed some buttons. The strange symbols changed into words that humans could read. The message was short but scary. To the weak species called humans, you have hidden in your small corner of space for too long. The hegemony of worlds now controls this part of the galaxy. You will surrender your worlds to us. You will serve us. You have 30 days to agree. If you do not agree, we will take your worlds by force. Do not try to fight us. We have destroyed species much stronger than you. Ji-woo read the message twice. Then she read it again. This cannot be real. I checked it many times, Minji said. The message is real. It came from a place very far away. These aliens call themselves the hegemony of worlds. Captain Hyun Lee walked into the room. He was older than Ji-woo and Minji, with gray hair and kind eyes. He had spent his whole life flying between the human worlds, carrying people and supplies. He knew space better than anyone. I heard about the alien message, Hyun said. My ship picked up the same signal. It is real. Jiwoo felt cold inside. For 3,000 years, humans had lived in peace. They grew food, made art, studied science, and explored space slowly and carefully. They did not fight wars. They did not build weapons. Children learned about love and friendship, not about killing and dying. What do we do? She asked. We call the High Council, Hyun said. All the leaders of all the human worlds must meet. They must decide what to do. Admiral Soman Choi arrived at the station 6 hours later. She was the highest military leader in human space, but she looked more like a teacher than a soldier. She wore a simple blue uniform with no weapons. Her job was to keep peace between the human worlds, not to fight wars. I have called the High Council, Admiral Choi said. Representatives from every human world are coming. We will meet tomorrow. That night, Jiwoo could not sleep. She walked around the station, looking at the peaceful life around her. In the farming areas, people grew vegetables and fruits. In the workshop areas, people made beautiful things from metal and wood. In the school areas, children learned about math and science and history. Nobody knew about the alien message yet. Tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, the High Council met in the big meeting room. 50 people came from 50 different human worlds. They all looked worried but not scared. Humans had faced problems before. They had always found peaceful solutions. Representative Do Hyun-yoon from Earth spoke first. I have studied the old records about aliens. 3,000 years ago, some alien species tried to attack us. We fought them, and they went away. Since then, no aliens have bothered us. Representative Nari Jung from Mars Colony spoke next. This hegemony of worlds must think we are weak because we live in peace. They think peace means we cannot fight. Maybe we should just talk to them, said Representative Tae Hyung-oh from the Jupiter moons. Maybe we can make a deal. We could give them some things they want and they would leave us alone. Admiral Choi shook her head. I do not think these aliens want to make deals. Their message sounds like they want to make us slaves. The representatives talked for hours. Some wanted to hide and hope the aliens would go away. Some wanted to try to make friends with the aliens. Some wanted to run away to new worlds where the aliens could not find them. Finally, Representative Yuna Shin from the outer colonies stood up. She was young but very smart. I think we are forgetting something important, she said. We chose to live in peace. That does not mean we forgot how to protect ourselves. What do you mean? Admiral Choi asked. 3,000 years ago, humans stopped the colonial wars. We did not stop them because we became weak. We stopped them because we became smart. We learned that fighting only brings more fighting. So we chose peace instead. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about Yuna's words. But these aliens do not know about our choice, Yuna continued. They think we live in peace because we have to. They think we cannot fight back. Maybe it is time to show them they are wrong. Dr. Ji-hoon Bae from the science colony spoke up. If we decide to fight, we will need to prepare. It has been 3,000 years since humans fought a real war. Our ships are made for carrying people and supplies, not for fighting. Our weapons are tools for building and farming, not for destroying. Are you sure about that? Yuna asked with a small smile. Maybe you should check the old records more carefully. Jiwoo felt something strange in the air. The representatives were looking at each other with new expressions. They seemed to know something that she did not know. Admiral Choi stood up. The High Council will vote tomorrow. Tonight, everyone should think carefully about what we should do. Remember, whatever we choose will change everything. There might be no going back to the old peaceful life. As the meeting ended, Jiwoo heard Yuna whisper to Dr. Bae, "It is time to wake up the sleeping giant." Jiwoo wondered what that meant. She would find out very soon.